So not only am I late in doing this because the movie was like months ago and we've all already moved on, but I'm also not original in this video format. I feel like it's been done a few times. I've seen like 3-4 videos on this already. But anyway, I found this animation pack that basically looked exactly like Wolverine. So I asked my Discord server if I should do like a Deadpool and Wolverine type of video, and they went wild with support. So I went ahead and bought the asset pack and then started looking for Deadpool and Wolverine models. So my game is pretty stylized, very cartoony or anime-ish. So I didn't want to go for something that was super real looking. And that's when I found these models. I mean, they're literally perfect and they look pretty good with the cell shader on. So once they were downloaded, I needed to rig them. And that's basically the process of taking them from a simple mesh to something that can be animated. So since it's a standard humanoid rig going into a game engine, I figured I might as well use a tool like GameRigs Pro. I figured I might as well use a tool like GameRigs tool to do this. And I used to hate this process so much, but I've gotten so much better at it now. It's kind of like a flow thing now. It's like almost therapeutic, but you didn't catch me saying that. It's pretty simple though. You align the bones, then you weight paint, and then you export it to the engine when it's ready. And yeah, just like that, we have Wolverine in the engine. Hey yo, but hold on, this shit is looking weird. So since my character's skeleton and Wolverine's skeleton are a bit different, and I'm not making like an adamantium skeleton joke, that would be good, right? Because of the difference in the structure of the skeleton, the animations don't quite translate properly, and that's why they look pretty whack. So we have to create a retargeter, which is, think of it as basically a translator between two different skeletons, but yeah, now it's a lot better. So to get him doing what he does best, which is mindless violence, we need to create a weapon/move set for him. So this is done by creating an item asset which will hold in all the weapon information. So now we got to create the animations, and we're going to use the animation pack that we got. I feel like this is half my job as a game developer now. It's just like filtering through animations. This whole thing basically wouldn't work without notifies. Notifies just allow for you to time events with different elements. So we have ones for checking to see if you've hit anyone. We have ones for like the combo windows. We have for slashes and for making the nice sound effects. So altogether, this is how the Wolverine kit turned out. So to get Wolverine's iconic healing factor in, I decided that I would make it a passive ability, because it is a passive ability. So it was a pretty easy buff which just continuously adds health every second. It's definitely a realistic or lore accurate way of doing things, but it wasn't fun. Like, we couldn't die, which is kind of the point, but you know, it's a game. Balance is needed. So I created another version as like an art or a spell in the game. The idea is that this one is more intentional. You actually have to stop attacking and heal. So you press down the button to do some periodic healing, but you won't be able to move. So it's quite literally like taking a break to heal, which is kind of how it works if you look at the movies between Deadpool and Wolverine.
What you laughing at, little fucker?
But this version was more fun, but it wasn't lore accurate. And I felt like that was just kind of nagging on me, the fact that it wasn't accurate. So I decided, okay, to keep both the passive and both the actual ability healing, but make the healing from the passive really small and the healing from the ability a lot more substantial. That way you can use both going on. And yeah, it made the whole healing factor ability a lot more fun. So before we move on to Deadpool, I would kind of like to do one of these again where I take someone else's character and try fit them into my game. And I kind of want to do one with Sasuke or Thor. I don't know which one I'm going to do next, so if you have a preference, let me know by joining my Discord server or, you know, dropping something in the comments. And yeah, let me know which one you want to see next. If I do go ahead with this, I'd also be streaming it on Twitch and doing it live, so you know, follow me on there too. Making Deadpool was a very similar process to Wolverine, you know, setting up a character sheet and then setting up a weapon item asset. Deadpool's most iconic weapon is his dual swords, but I didn't want to just have another dual swords moveset in the game. I wanted to do something that was, you know, more unique. Okay, hear me out. What if Deadpool's charge attack was guns? At least to me, Deadpool is way more interesting than Wolverine. Not just because I hate stoic or broody types. Like, get over it, man. Get over it. Deadpool's powers are a little less one note. Apart from a severe mental illness that allows him to break the fourth wall, or like just not being able to die, Deadpool actually has another really cool ability. I'm not sure what you would call it, but basically it's the magic satchel ability to pull out infinite weapons out of a bag. I just call it the GTA 5 ability. Basically like a GTA 5 character just having a shitload of weapons and bringing them out of nowhere. So I kind of felt like I needed to recreate this. However, this kind of broke how my game works. There is no weapon switching in my game, at least in combat. The multiple weapons were just not part of the game. Putting two swords and working with that is, you know, straightforward. Switching between dual guns and dual katanas or whatever without switching weapons, that was actually very tricky. Oh, this isn't gonna work. I have an idea. I don't know if this is gonna work.
We need to get the guns on the model. It's not going to work here because if we attach it here, it attaches to the root mesh. Thanks to the system we've set up, if we go to weapon dev, I think I'm cooking. I'm fucking cooking. I'm cooking. Alright.
And the solution I came up with felt like putting sellotape on someone who's bleeding out. It's part of me is cringing right now. Like my brain is telling me there is a better way to do this that I'm not seeing. My solution was to switch between the guns and the swords using notifiers to basically hide the other when I don't need it. If I want to be able to reuse the same moveset for both my characters or any future characters, then we need the skeletons to translate properly. The way that the actual player characters and the bot characters work in the game is that the mesh that you see, the character that you see, is actually an invisible character driving their movement, and that mesh is just a translated version of the actual character's movement. However, all of the weapons and everything attached to the invisible character. If there's a difference between the invisible character's sockets and skeleton versus the visible one, it doesn't translate well and it's just out of place. So at this point, things were just confusing, full of problems, and just heading south quick, kind of like me talking to women. So once again, I had to come up with a makeshift solution, but it did work. Unfortunately, it just broke weapons for all the bots in the game. I figured that I'll probably fix this later, but for now, let's just move on. So overall, I am happy with how it turned out. All these problems that I ran into and design issues that I had to tackle, I feel like it's made me stronger. Okay, that's cringy, but I feel like it's exposed some things in my system that I hadn't thought about and that I could potentially use in the future. Which is kind of why I like doing things like this. It makes me to think out of the box and makes me try things that are new and see what I can incorporate to my game. And while legally I probably can't keep the meshes in my game, neither do I intend to, I can keep the weapons and the movesets and just create like wish clones of them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we might not get Wolverine or Deadpool in the game. We might get an equipable weapon that's like Claws of the Wolfman or like a dangerous mercenary kit or something like that. So yeah, at least I end up making some actual content for the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, leave a like and subscribe. Also leave a comment just for me to spend like 3 minutes trying to think of a response and then just leaving a heart anyway. Now, if you don't mind, I have some unemployment to get back to, so peace.